Hello, today we're going to talk about how to set up a new virtual machine in the Google Cloud Platform, or GCP. So to start off with, I'm in my TechSnips demo project on the console, and that's important because every resource is going to get tied to a project in GCP. So let's start off by going to the top left corner to the navigation menu, and we'll click on Compute Engine. And then at the top of that list, we'll see VM instances. Let's go ahead and click on that. And let's go ahead and create our VM instance. Now here we have a few different options on the left here. We have a marketplace. These are things like pre-built VMs with certain applications on them. We have VM instance from template, which if we have our own template, we can supply it for a VM, or we can do it from scratch. So let's go ahead and do it from scratch in this case. I will call this TechSnips VM. And then it'll ask us which region we want to put it in. Let's put it in US West 1. And zone, think of these like availability zones. Let's put this in US West 1A. Now for machine configuration, we have two different options here. We have general purpose and memory optimized. Each type is going to have its own machine type underneath that. So for example, if I pick memory optimized, it's going to show me a list of the virtual machines I have at my disposal and some of their specs. And if I pick general purpose, I have quite a few more machines that I can access. We've also got the monthly estimate of what this is going to cost us on the right-hand side. For now, since this is a demo, I'm going to go as small as I can and continue on. Now, if we need to customize the platform or GPUs, we have the ability to do that with this drop-down menu here. And we have the ability to add a GPU depending on our application. And if we don't need that, we can go ahead and collapse that menu. Let's scroll down a little bit further. We see boot disk here. My default is going to be a Debian new Linux, but I can change that by clicking on the button there, and I see quite a few more options, as well as application images with specific applications on there, in this case SQL, custom images which I can create and save later. I'll do another snip on that at another point. Snapshots and existing disks. Don't worry about those last three for right now. What we're going to do is look around at the different options here. We have Windows, we have Deep Learning, we have Debian, we have Ubuntu. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to pick the Ubuntu latest stable build, and I'm going to put it on a standard persistent disk with 10 gigabytes on it. Let's go ahead and select that. Now we have a couple of different access scopes here, and these are different controls for how we would access Google APIs. We see the default service account is selected, and we can create other service accounts to fit our needs with different permissions. But we can also set full access, or we can set individual access for each API. I don't need any of that for this demo, so I'm going to go ahead and select the default. Next is firewall rule. Gauge this accordingly based on your application. If you're setting up a web server, you can allow HTTP or HTTPS traffic, or both. Now we could go ahead and create here, but let's go ahead and expand this down here: management, security, disks, and networking. These are some more different configurations we can do, including labels and tags, which are important when it comes to adding firewall rules or adding security groups. Disks, when it comes to encrypting our disks with a Google or customer supplied key, or adding additional disks. So let's say I wanted to add a backup drive with a local SSD using the SCSI protocol and snapshot that at a certain schedule. This is where I would set that up. Now I don't necessarily want to do that for this demo, so I'll click out of that for now. Under networking, we have our networking tags. Now remember, if you've never worked with GCP before, it will set your firewall and security group rules based on these network tags, so keep that in mind. and we have sole tenancy. So if we, for some reason, need to run this VM in its own tenant, we can do that as well. I don't need to set any of this up for the demo, but I do want to show you it's there because that's important and it's easy to miss. So let's collapse that for now. And now we're ready to look over our configuration. We see it's going to cost me about $4.28 a month, which is pretty good. We can also see down at the bottom here the equivalent REST or command line. Now what that is if we wanted to create the same VM with the same configuration with the GCP REST API, or with the command line, these would be the commands we would run to do that. And it's worth noting these down because if you want to configure a VM in the console and then incorporate this command line into a script or a configuration or even version control, this is how you would do that. But I'm satisfied with this as it is, so let's go ahead and click Create. And we will wait for that to get deployed. Great, I've got my TechSnips VM with my internal and external IP addresses, and I can go ahead and directly SSH onto the server right from the console. And what this is going to do is it's going to open up a Cloud Shell instance and then open up an SSH connection to that VM. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.